Okay, I'm here the Friday morning with Guy Leech, or Leechy, Ironman champion from Australia and 1991 Molokai winner. So he's back again to do the relay this year. Is that right?
Yeah. So I first came here in '91. I heard a lot about the race for the exploits of Grant Kenny back in the '80s, and that sort of made its way back to Australia about this race in Hawaii that you could do. And but the thing with our sport was in Ironman that you finished the year off in around April, and you took May and June off, and then started training again for the following season. So this was a hard race to do because, being this time of year was when you're meant to be resting before you started the season. Obviously, you would have to go and train right through.
And drinking.
Yeah. You wanted to break because you're training and racing 10 months of the year.
Yeah.
And that's your living. So, but I decided in '91 that I was going to come over and have a crack. So once I finished the Ironman season, I kept training and started doing some longer paddles. When I came over here with Dean Gardner and some other guys from Manly, from Sydney, and made it over here for the first time. And not unlike the conditions that are forecasted for this year's race, that's what we copped in '91, which was sort of flat, bit of swell but no wind, and it was really hot. I remember that, and it was sort of those conditions that sort of probably suited me more than a lot of other guys. And as it sort of stacked out, I was in the lead bunch with Grant Kenny, Dean Gardner, and some other guys at about the halfway mark, and sort of made a move and went. And the thing I remember about the race back then was because I'd never done it before, and I heard about all these currents, and you got to go north, you got to go south, and me not knowing it, I sort of was in some ways thinking, geez, maybe I'm in front at the wrong time, having never done it before. But I got there in the end, and it was a good race.
Yeah, good one. So you were always known as, I remember in the Ironman, I don't know whether that was the case, but it was certainly because you'd won all the Coolangatta Golds and all that sort of stuff, you were known as a real enduro specialist. And so this sort of race obviously suited you pretty well.
Yeah, my background was swimming. I was a pool swimmer that represented Australia and wanted to go to the Olympics, and I actually had a crack at marathon swimming, and was the Australian marathon swimming champion, and was ranked number 1 in the world at one stage for marathon swimming before it was an Olympic sport.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But funnily enough, I was going to go and swim the English Channel. I'd done some across the Cook Strait in New Zealand, and then found out about this Ironman race called the Coolangatta Gold that a poster turned up at Manly Surf Club, and that was in sort of 1983, and I was going to go and do the English Channel for something to do and tick off, and then all of a sudden my attention went to this race, and I trained up for 6 months for this Ironman race on the Gold Coast, which was all around a movie, and won that race and picked up $20,000 worth of gold for the win, and then a sport was basically created from that one race, and all of a sudden then I was racing every second month for money in Australia, and then a series started up, and that was it. Like from 1984 to when I retired in 1995, I was a full-time professional athlete. So I was in the right place at the right time.
There was a real, remember those years. There was a real sort of romance around lifesaving, and certainly Ironman and the Ironman series. It was a great era for the sport and everything. Then it's certainly changed a lot now, but it was a fantastic era here.
Yeah, look, it was just unless you saw it and were living through it, you wouldn't really believe how big it was, would you? It was just the boys were on television every second weekend over summer, live on television, and this is before the internet, before pay TV, and if you wanted to watch television, you only had 3 channels really in Australia to watch them on, and we were on one of them, and we were on for 3 hours on a Sunday afternoon when people were coming home from the beach and were getting ready for dinner, and we were on television, and so all the boys became very, very famous, and it was the sort of must-watch thing if you're into the ocean. So we were the benefactors of 10 years of really good profile, and got to race for big money, and it was just it was